going to share something with you that I haven't told many people. When my husband was diagnosed with cancer this summer, I went numb. I felt hot and tingly on the inside. My head felt like it was floating above my body like a balloon. And I had a sizable lump in my throat. Then I laughed. I didn't think it was funny, but the way that my brain processes emotion is different. As a kid, I would lose friends over this. My husband is doing well, and he's actually here today in the audience. I'm a terrific actress, but I go mute when my emotions run high. I'm social, but I do not like small talk. I was once the odd kid, and it still shows up. My feelings are not different than yours. I just process information differently, and sometimes that looks different. My name is Cynthia Coupe, and I am neurodivergent. As a speech-language pathologist, I specialize in working with kids on the autism spectrum, yet I didn't notice that my daughter had autism until she was 10, and I didn't see my own neurodivergent traits until I was 46. We are on the spectrum, and we are not disabled. I want you to walk away from this talk rethinking normal. So what is neurodiversity? Neurodiversity is the spectrum of differences in each one of our brains in terms of things like attention, language, memory, socializing, and a whole host of other cognitive functions. Neurodiversity was first coined by Judy Singer in 1998, yet it has no formal definition to this day. It was originally used to describe autism, but autism rarely exists alone. So over time, it's also included things like ADHD, anxiety, dyslexia, and a whole bunch of other brain-based disorders. Put simply, neurodiversity is the natural variation in all of our brains. Just like our fingerprints, no two are alike. Autistic traits have a long and complex history, yet autism is a fairly new diagnosis. As we learn more about it, we see that we've always had human outliers, and we've actually needed them to help propel society forward. From Einstein to Elon Musk, Thomas Jefferson to Greta Thunberg, Michelangelo to Bill Gates, all neurodivergent. But it's not just about being brilliant or gifted. It's certainly not about being emotionless or lacking empathy. And it's not even about being weird or socially awkward. Okay, maybe it's a little about being weird and socially awkward. But really, it's about interpreting the world differently. One of my clients, Jessica, used to think that something was wrong with her. She didn't know she had autism until one day during an argument, her sister blurted out, "It's your autism!" Autism what? Jessica had no idea what this was. Her family finally shared her diagnosis, and she read up on it. Her whole world opened before her eyes. She tells me, "I learned I had autism. Nothing was wrong with me. I was just autistic." Nothing was wrong with her. What if we could all think that way? When my daughter Lena was getting tested, she asked if I hoped she was autistic. I really don't care. It won't change anything about you. What do you hope? I don't know why, but I kind of hope I do have autism. I think it'd be kind of cool. This next generation has a wider lens for differences. There's more acceptance, more openness. Just look at racial and gender identity. Acceptance and integration is where our world is heading, and neurodiversity is no different. What we consider normal is shifting. Neurodiversity, racial diversity, gender diversity, these new normals are shaping our future. The statistics give us only a narrow view of what is out there, but no matter how we look at it, autism is on the rise. The CDC states that 1 in 54 children have the diagnosis of autism. That's up from 1 in 150 in the year 2000. That's significant. Adults with autism are estimated to be about 1 in 45. And I can tell you, there's a whole host of us roaming around here that aren't identified. And our children are often late identified, which means we're not even part of these statistics. The numbers have tripled since the year 2000, and they might even quadruple soon because we're still learning how to identify it. In fact, between 30 and 40% of the total population is thought to be neurodiverse. It really is the new normal. So I find it incredibly ironic that neurodivergents are forming the world that we're all living in, yet we don't fit in. Of those that neurodivergents have a significantly higher chance of unemployment, depression, and suicide than the general population. We're stuck on the fringe and it's killing us. Of those that have a diagnosis, between 55 and 85% are unemployed or underemployed. There's a 400% higher chance of depression and a 300% higher chance of suicide than the general population. But why? I have a unique vantage point of neurodiversity as a mother, therapist, and individual. In all cases, I see, hear, and experience the same 3 issues. Society has a narrow view of autism. It's either Rain Man or Forrest Gump. Identification is difficult, and neurodivergent adults have limited services. We need education, identification, and support. So how do we do that? My daughter actually nailed this answer the other day. I was picking her up from school. Hey, Bug, how was your day? It was fine. I told my friend I had autism. She said it didn't seem like it. Mom, can you please do a talk about neurodiversity at my school? Education. She knew it was the answer, even though she didn't know why. With education, we have the chance to build empathy and understanding. It allows us to become vulnerable and to connect. With education, we have the chance to open the window into understanding others as well as ourselves, and the ability to expand our view of neurodiversity. Take my story. I had missed my daughter's autism and my own traits, even with 20 years of experience working in this very population. My view was too narrow. It wasn't until I read an article in Scientific American and learned that girls present differently, I finally got it. I saw what I was missing. And I'm not alone. The fact that females can look different than boys didn't come to light until 2016. We all missed it. But through education, we've learned. Over and over again, I hear neurodivergents saying the same thing. We wish we had known more about ourselves sooner. We wish other people understood it, and we wish people would listen. We don't feel like we're disabled. We just feel like we don't fit in. In the work my husband and I do, we regularly educate our clients, our community, and even ourselves about neurodiversity. We provide outreach and education because we know it matters, and we know that education builds a bridge to empathy. It also leads to identification. While it may not seem to matter if somebody has a diagnosis or not, In today's society, it holds tremendous weight. Here's the formula. Diagnosis equals services. Services equal support, and support equals positive outcomes. So if we're not diagnosed or we're diagnosed late, then we might struggle to hold down a job, go to college, or make friends. And if we struggle with those things long enough, we might end up depressed or even suicidal. We find ourselves trying to fit in, trying to be someone we're not because that's what we think society wants. In fact, identification also has a direct impact on my clients. Because how do you serve someone that's not identified? I can't exactly just grab someone off the street. Hey, you look weird. I think I can help. Chances are, if people aren't identified, they don't know what their struggles are, and that leads them to not be able to seek services. So, while formal diagnosis can take time to catch up to the need, just being able to self-identify can make a huge difference. Knowing we are not alone helps us to build identity and to realize that we're not actually an alien life form. To quote Mark from the Netflix series Love on the Spectrum, it doesn't matter. We're all human beings. It's all about diversity. We're all in this together. Which brings me to the last piece we need, support. Remember how I said that the incidence of autism had increased from 1 in 150 to 1 in 54? When I was a speech-language pathologist in the school system, the number of kids on my caseload with autism doubled. It's a tidal wave that has entered the schools, and it's already leaving it. Over the next 10 years, roughly 90,000 teens each year will age out of school-based autism services. Whoa, that's almost 1 million teens over the next 10 years. Similar to foster kids, once these teens age out of services, there isn't much available. Some family support, maybe some accommodations in college, but no real-life coaching on the issues that matter as they're navigating a post-high school world. New experiences, new responsibilities, new situations. It's overwhelming. No wonder unemployment, depression, and suicide are so high. That's a big problem. But what if, instead of a problem, we viewed it as an opportunity, like my daughter did? I find that as we support our clients in the real world, their growth is tremendous. Teary-eyed parents are thanking us, while teachers and clients are asking what more we can offer. Our support has led directly to the things that matter most to them: jobs, friends, self-advocacy. As Dina Gassner says, you don't outgrow autism, you grow into it. Autism is not static. It changes as we all do, and the years post-high school are no different. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we can truly see what is needed. The other day, one of my classically grumpy clients said to me, "I'm pretty much happy all the time." Really? Since when? Since I met Juan. Now I have a friend. This young man is 23 years old. His new bestie is 19. I can tell you, they've changed since becoming friends. They've connected with something that was truly meaningful to them. Working in the field of autism became my life dream after reading a book about it when I was 7 years old. It is my passion, and it has only become more personal as time has gone on. Life is funny, isn't it? Because along the way, it sent me a daughter who's neurodivergent, and it opened up my eyes to the fact that I am too. I know intimately what this population needs and what we experience day to day. My vision is a world where neurodiversity is as valued as biodiversity. We need systemic change. Change happens by doing things differently. I don't have a roadmap, but I have a direction. It all begins with education. We educate ourselves by having conversations, searching the internet, watching videos, and reading books and literature written by neurodivergent authors. We educate our children so that they can advocate for themselves as well as others. If our child has a diagnosis, we share it with them. We ask for neurodiversity education in the school system, and we don't stop asking until we get it. We start using a strengths-based model instead of a deficit-based model. We build better diagnostic tools, like a Myers-Briggs for neurodiversity. Bit by bit, we bring neurodiversity out of the dark and into the light. We normalize the new normal. Together, we can create a world where everyone in society is viewed with equal importance. As we move forward, I would like to share a quote by Paul Collins. Autistics are the ultimate square peg. And the problem with pounding a square peg into a round hole is not that the hammering is hard work. It's that you're destroying the peg. It's time to put down the hammer. Thank you.